So today we'll be delving into the realms of machine learning. Before I start, a quick introduction for myself. I'm Stuart Buckley, and I'm the Channel Sales Director here at Node4. A little bit of housekeeping. We are recording the session, and we will be distributing after this session to all registrations. But we may also use the video, YouTube, and for publications and things like that. So your cameras are on. If you're comfortable leaving your camera on, feel free, but just be aware that we will be distributing the video. We will do our best to blur your face and cut you out on a lot of these, but yeah, just please be aware of that. We will come to questions at the end of the session, so please keep yourselves muted until that. Today's session will be run by Bjoern, and he'll be shedding light on the nuances that differentiate AI from ML. We'll navigate through a spectrum of cross-sell and upsell opportunities present in the market for our channel partners. And Bjoern will also guide us on how Node4 can empower our partners to steer meaningful dialogue with your clients as well. Bjoern's career boasts a wealth of experience as a seasoned technology leader, operating at board level across both commercial and public sectors. He has a remarkable portfolio of roles: transformation director, enterprise architect, and chief technology officer. And drawing on his experience in enterprise architecture, cloud services, and AI. Proper bigging you up here, aren't I, Bjoern? He empowers businesses to optimize results, enhance customer success, and drive operational efficiencies. So hopefully I've not bigged you up too much, so no pressure, Bjoern. Over to you.
No, brilliant. Thanks, Stuart. And good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining, and great to see we've got so much interest in this topic. So today we want to talk about AI, and the short agenda, but we go quite into deep aspects in each of those areas. So first of all, I want to set the scene by talking about what do we mean by AI and the different nuances and different terminologies. So we go into those. Of course, we are a Microsoft partner, and of course, you as our channel partners, the focus is really on Microsoft technology. So we will dive deep into the different aspects and capabilities that Microsoft have, that we as a Microsoft partner have, and how we can work together, as Stuart already alluded to. And then how can we help other business unlock the value of AI, really transform the way they do business and operate? And hopefully you will find this session very insightful. And towards the end, please ask any questions. We want this to be a dialogue. We want to enable you to really reach out to the wider client base. So with
trying to say one thing.
Got somebody in. Great. So starting here on AI, I want to set the scene with this statement here. It was a study by the World Economic Forum, so quite an important force to be reckoned with. So they expect by 2025, adoption of AI is expected to lead to a net increase of 58 million jobs globally. And yes, there's always the conversation about how AI will get rid of jobs and displace jobs, but actually AI opens up so many more opportunities. So as you see here, 58 million jobs globally, that's quite a lot. And with that comes really the outlook that we have so many capabilities that AI now brings to the forefront. And that's really the message of this session today. There's so much we can do with technology and leveraging AI capabilities to transform the way we work, transform the way we do business. And really, this is hopefully the message as a takeaway. It's great opportunities, so let's work together to unlock those. So what do we mean by AI? And before we go into the deep technical definition, I want to give you a bit of a timeline here of when did things start. For those of you who follow it on the news, of course, we've got the very recent advances, but let's cast our eye back to 1950. So Turing, who probably most of you know, issued and published papers on intelligent machines. And of course, we've all heard of the Enigma machine that helped break the code to understand what the Germans were planning in the Second World War. But these intelligent machines, that was really the first glimpse and what we would call today as AI, having intelligence than being programmed. So 1950, as you can see, quite a long way back when it all started. 1997, for me, this was a milestone. I was relatively young playing chess, and in 1997 there was this big machine computer called Deep Blue. Deep Blue was a chess computer specifically programmed to play chess, and I think it was IBM, they were very keen to test how good is Deep Blue, and they arranged for the then chess master Giri Kasparov, to play against Deep Blue, and nobody expected this to happen, but Deep Blue beat Kasparov. And for those of you who know chess, it's a board game. You have a grid by 8 by 8, so 64 tiles, and your chess pieces can move in certain ways. If you just imagine how many opportunities and different possibilities there are of moves to be played, it's quite impressive that back in the day, where computers had less storage, less compute power, that was already possible back then. So in the year 2000, that was the first time we started talking about a terminology called deep learning. On the next slide, I will explain a bit more what that is. But that was when deep learning research really started. And the reason why that was so late in the game, so if you think about from 1950 to the year 2000, so 50 years later, deep learning started, only because computer processing and computer capabilities really only made it possible then to have research papers and then computers to undertake deep learning capabilities. 2014, Microsoft Cortana was launched. Cortana, because we're talking about Microsoft technology, Cortana is the equivalent to Apple's Siri, so a speech assistant. And you think, what has that to do with AI? Well, actually, it is a form of AI capability, and obviously having first of all, artificial speech and interacting with you, there's a lot of AI to make that possible. In 2015, obviously, Microsoft Azure was already long available then. Microsoft had Azure Machine Learning Studio and things like forecasting and computer vision and other cognitive services available. And that was really when a set of pre-programmed AI services, and I just used the terminology there, cognitive services, became available to the masses in your normal Azure environment, so in cloud technology, and having those pre-built services, which of course use AI technology and capabilities, that was the first time really it became commercially viable to build your own solutions using these capabilities. In 2017, Azure Machine Learning developed further, so we had translation capabilities, and there's a way to measure how good human language is understood, and yeah, AI capabilities by that point not just matched but actually surpassed the human abilities. Machine reading was there, comprehension is there, sentiment analysis, all of these further more sophisticated capabilities became commonly available. When we then look 2019, OpenAI, Microsoft had a $1 billion investment in OpenAI, and that really changed the marketplace. It wasn't very much known at the time for those of us who work in IT. We heard about this, but it wasn't really in the public news so much. That changed then a year or two later. So, and as you see here in 2022, Microsoft launched exclusively ChatGPT in the Azure environment, and then, as you see also in 2022, OpenAI was released to the mass market. what most people are using today is ChatGPT 3.5. If you have a premium version, you use 4.0. There are different flavors and capabilities with both of those, but that's probably time for another webinar to dive really deep into the OpenAI capabilities. So 2023, we have Microsoft launching Copilot, and Copilot is an AI-powered assistant. Back in the 90s, we had Clippy, and probably the modern version of this in the 21st century is Microsoft Copilot. Copilot is used in lots of products in Dynamics 365, in your Office product, but also in DevOps products, so GitHub and so on. So we've got lots of capabilities there. So enough on the timeline. Let's really understand a bit more why we have these different phases here, and I want to just bring those 3 phases up. So we talked about deep learning already. So you see here, deep learning was in a research phase. Machine learning became into commercial use since 2014, like I said, and since 2019, with the start of OpenAI, we now have the terminology and talk about generative AI. So I want to explain that a bit more, what the difference is on the next slide. So first of all, everything is artificial intelligence. AI is the catch-all phrase. Whenever we talk about any kind of machine learning or other technology in more detail, everything sits under the umbrella term artificial intelligence. So that's the common denominator. Everything we now talk throughout the session, everything is AI. Then we talk about machine learning. So machine learning is a flavor of AI, and very specific to machines have pre-coded and predetermined either arithmetic logic or other scenarios where we have pre-programmed code bases, and that's why we talk about machine learning. So we've trained a machine on certain aspects that can be quite complex, but that is the next level down from artificial intelligence. So we talk about machine learning, and I've got use cases later on as well. So even more involved and more complex is then this next subfield, which is deep learning. So deep learning is a sub-area, a sub-division within machine learning. And deep learning is something that we see, obviously, that ChatGPT and so on is using. When we talk about deep learning, we have reinforced learning, where we have one set of data that's then retrained and retrained again. That's why we're calling it deep learning. So we're going deeper in cycles to reinforce a certain learning, and that's why we have the complexity, because we work our way through different layers of such models, and that is mimicked on the human brain. So the human brain, if you think about neurons and how your brain is wired and structured, in our brain we also have different layers with the short-term memory, and then there's a medium and a long-term memory. So all of this is the deep learning models that we have in machine learning. They are mimicked on the human brain, and that's why we have this reinforced learning to go through deeper iterations. So generative AI, and you will have seen there are lots of products out there. For those of you who are on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is flooded with posts of, here are the latest 50 or 100 specific applications that use generative AI, and obviously OpenAI is one base data set that's using the different capabilities. So you have Midjourney to generate images. Google Bard is another, obviously not the Microsoft one, but Google's version of a generative AI model. Microsoft's Copilot, a flavor of using the OpenAI capabilities in different ways, either for GitHub, so to develop code or aid you with reviewing and writing code. Adobe have with Adobe Firefly their own version, and there are lots of different products out there. And so generative AI is really another step of deep learning by having those multiple layers, this reinforced learning, and using this capability to have a chat-based interaction with you. So you provide an information, and the generative AI will produce a response and generates a response for you. We talked earlier about things like Cortana or Siri, and people think, well, but I can speak to Cortana and Siri and it will give me an answer. So that is also conversational. The big difference here is, and that's something you can try out yourself. If you ask Siri or Cortana a question to say, describe to me what deep learning is, it will give you an answer. If you ask the same question again, it will give you the same answer again, because this is just how it's programmed. If you use ChatGPT, for example, or Google Bard and ask the question, it will give you an answer. When you ask again, it will generate a new answer. It will be nuanced. It will have a different flavor. And this, again, is an example how it's more mimicking how a human interaction would be. If you have a conversation, if I ask you today, describe to me, I don't know, the latest Mission Impossible film, you will give an answer. If I ask you tomorrow, you will give an answer again, but it will be nuanced and different, slightly different worded, maybe a different sentiment. So this is what you can do with generative AI. You can say to generative AI, give me an answer in the spirit of, I don't know, you are a content writer, or you are a marketing person, or whatever it is. So you can give it the instruction to give you an answer in different flavors and different ways. So as you can see, the capabilities of AI have become far more complex, and this is through the capabilities that evolved from machine learning into deep learning into generative AI. So hopefully that helped setting the record straight on the different terminologies. So not everything is machine learning, not everything is deep learning or open AI. So hopefully that helped appreciate it a bit more. So I've got here on the next slide a more simplified view, but with more real examples to really appreciate when is some technology generative AI or when it's just machine learning. And machine learning, as I described earlier, is supervised because we've trained the model and it's a fixed model. Think of Siri, you ask the question, you get the same answer again and again because it's supervised, you've trained it, it's pre-trained. Generative AI, because you've got this deep learning model, and I described to you, it has the different flavors. So every time it gives an answer, it gives it in a different flavor. That's because this is the unsupervised element, because it's not hard-coded. You give it a remit and then it can respond within that remit. So that's the unsupervised bit. So supervised is really good for very prescriptive requirements. So saying, for example, I can train a model to recognize images. There are lots of use cases in, for example, in food production or other process automation scenarios where you say, okay, I'm producing this piece and there are lots of them on my conveyor belt. I can use machine learning to train, this is what the part looks like when it's done, produced well, and then it can use the trained image scenario to say, if it doesn't look like this, clearly it hasn't manufactured it in the right way. So then you know that part needs to be replaced or redone. So this is what you can do with training something. Or public sector organizations, council can use this to recognize roadside signals, to say, okay, what sign does this say? Is it a stop sign? Is it a give way sign? Whatever. So you can train that kind of model. And the car industry uses that when you have your car sat nav or whatever, it can tell you what speed you're supposed to drive because it can read the traffic signals and signs. Question and answers. Everybody's talking about bots and bot capabilities. So the first version of Microsoft bot capability was what's called a Q&A bot, question and answer bot. Obviously, that has evolved much more since the capabilities have evolved, but that was something you can build very easily. And in any customer service scenario, a question and answer bot can be really useful to take away these mundane questions. If you are working in the insurance industry, okay, how many years no claims bonus have I got? You don't need a human to provide that answer. So that's something a bot could take over and look up the information in the database. So that's something we can do. Forecasting or prediction. Again, you have a model that you've trained with machine learning. You've given it all the parameters so you can forecast how long will, I don't know, a journey from A to B take, how long will it take to produce a certain product or things like that. So forecasting with given parameters is very easy to do. And I've got later a slide to show you how you can even use very sophisticated forecasting capabilities in Power BI. Sentiment analysis, again, that's really something useful for customer service. When you interact with customers and they provide an answer or provide an email, and it could be social media or in your interaction with the clients directly, but sentiment analysis is really useful to understand, is a customer happy or satisfied or even sad? There could be lots of other scenarios where that could be used. Recognizing speech. All speech services are so impressive and important to be used. We work in a world where countries and languages, we have so many nationalities and spoken languages in the UK, everywhere in the world. So using all the speech capabilities is quite useful and really helpful to break down borders and barriers to really overcome things and offer better customer service ultimately. Talk about generative AI in a moment, and here are a couple of examples where we have an overlap. I will come to this. So the unsupervised scenarios, creating images from text or generating videos, model languages, creative writing, synthesizing speech. So all of this is what now you can do with generative AI. It's quite scary, but there are useful, there are good use cases to leverage this. So the creative writing, if you need to write a proposal or if you need to write a response to be more compelling for your clients or in other scenarios. So there's really good use cases, generating images and generating videos. Again, that could be used in a training scenario. So there are really good use cases there. Describing images is a combination of machine learning and generative AI, because obviously you have a pre-trained aspect, but also the descriptive piece is then where it generates the description for you. That's why there's an overlap there. And language translation, again, that can be overlapping depending on how you use the model, or it can be purely supervised. So that's a combination of both. There are risks and challenges with any form of AI capabilities, and it's not something where we say, oh yeah, we just let AI do it and you don't need to worry about it. So for me, AI, and I've been talking about AI for a long while and consulting on AI for a long while. For me, the most important aspect here is the bias. Because we're talking about pre-trained data models, the data that you feed into the data model is important. So we all have our own biases, and it's inevitable because we're humans. So we all have biases for one reason or another. So the data we provide into a data model by nature is biased because we are biased. So to overcome the bias is very important, so that when you create a bot for an insurance company, that you not inevitably put a preference or one ethnic group or another, and that's just something. How do you overcome this? And obviously, we work in IT. We have that appreciation, so it's important that we not let our clients or our customers unsupervised create their own bots and so on. Yes, the technology is there, but it's to ensure that those kind of aspects are considered as you deploy and build a bot or whatever other form of AI. The same thing. Misuse is very easy with all these great capabilities. Is a risk of misuse. Certainly, hackers and everybody else out there who hasn't got the best interest at heart, they will find ways to misuse that. So we need to educate our clients on the capabilities, and also train them and educate them on how potentially the technology could be misused, so it can easily be or easier identified and detected. The impact on jobs, I'm not talking about, oh, people will lose jobs, but it will impact jobs because new capabilities mean people need to be trained and educated on the new capabilities, how to leverage them, but also how will that change the roles that you need moving forward. So suddenly you need somebody who can write OpenAI, so ChatGPT prompts to know how to use it in a more effective way. So that's something. Or as you use more technology in Azure around AI, you need suddenly a DevOps engineer or an AI specialist. So we need different roles, and that obviously is something we need to weave into our clients and how they change their target operating model. When we leverage not just the OpenAI technology, but also pre-trained models with, I already gave the example with bias, but as there's pre-trained models, there will be inaccuracies, and certainly OpenAI, if you use it a number of times, you will find that there's inaccuracy. So we can't just expect it all to be correct, and we need to be mindful that the data is pre-trained. So we still need a human element of interacting and responsibly leveraging the capabilities and the data there. In terms of data security, especially if data is in your own environment, you need to make sure that because you're putting more data into a data model, that data is appropriately protected and secured so that there are no data leaks, that you treat your client data in a compliant way. It's so easy to just upload PII, so personally identifiable information, into such a data model. But again, that's something where we can help you as our channel partners, but also we as the Microsoft partner, we can help on all of those aspects to deliver a respectful and a secure and a compliant project in leveraging those technologies and capabilities. So we talked a lot about this now in theory. Let's really dive into the space now where AI is available. In what products is it available, and how Microsoft is leading the way. So if we first of all look at Microsoft's ecosystem here, we have Microsoft Teams, we've got Azure DevOps here at the bottom. Here's the Windows icon. Obviously, you have Cortana. We already mentioned that, the speech assistant. Here on the left-hand side is the OpenAI icon, and things like Excel and Power BI. So you see, we've got the capabilities throughout the Microsoft ecosystem in all the different products, and it's really leveraging this. And what's underpinning it is obviously OpenAI, because OpenAI is now woven into all of the products. And to put this into perspective, OpenAI is the fastest growing website. If I show you here, since the graph shows this here. OpenAI since October had 21 million monthly visitors, the OpenAI website. In April 2023, it was 1.8 billion visitors in a month, and that's just a crazy amount of people. To put this into perspective, so 1.8 billion people visiting in April the OpenAI website. The Office website, office.com, only had 1.4 billion users in a month, and Netflix also 1.4 billion users in a month. So anybody who you talk to, everybody's watching Netflix. There are more people using OpenAI than people watching Netflix. And for me, this is just crazy how much it has advanced. So we can't shy away from the technology. It's there. And that's why it's our responsibility to help our clients to leverage this technology in a mindful, in a meaningful way, in an efficient way, and to really use it in an appropriate way. So hopefully this gives you a good appreciation. So where do we take this from here? So we mentioned already Microsoft Copilot. So Microsoft has the Copilot product in Office 365 or in Microsoft 365. So you can now let it help you create an email response. It can create a PowerPoint slide deck on a topic for you. And to not put too much, take too much away, here's a short video.
Bjoern, I'm not actually getting any audio from that video, so you might. I'm sure people can read it, but you might want to give a very quick overview of what it's trying to say.
Yeah. There's no actual audio on the presentation. Right. There's just some fancy music in the background. The video is also available, I'm sure, on YouTube, wherever you want to look at it. If you just look at what it creates, so it's just amazing. All the different capabilities, bringing not just the Office products together, but really helping on day-to-day activities that we all do, and really how Copilot can help you aid the things you do day-to-day, do them better and quicker, and obviously give it a professional capability there. So go really well. Let me go to the next slide. There we go. So with all of this said, how can we help other businesses to leverage all the capabilities? First of all, I want to very briefly remind everybody, Node4, we're obviously the Node4 group, comprising of those 4 organizations who have come together, and we have really a wall-to-wall capability in everything that the Microsoft ecosystem offers you. And the areas that I've highlighted in red are obviously the very obvious aspects where AI and machine learning is involved. So of course, anywhere in the data space, we can leverage AI and machine learning. In modern work, because we've just mentioned Copilot, we can help roll out Copilot. We can do the training on Copilot, drive all those activities there. In terms of employee experience, Copilot obviously has a role to play, but also internal chatbots, all of these kind of things. You see them here for contact centers. In all of these areas, we can really help. Security, you heard me talk about. When you leverage all those AI capabilities in Azure, you need to ensure that your security posture is obviously reflecting those usages, and we can provide all the cybersecurity capabilities there. And in the world of BizApps or Power Platform, what you might have heard of, or Dynamics 365, obviously AI, chatbots, low-code apps, all of these areas, RPA, so robotic process automation, digital process automation, and more collaborative AI solutions. All of these areas is something where we have skills, expertise, and referenceable projects where we've worked with our clients. In terms of Microsoft certifications and accreditations, we've got all of these. Of course, we are Microsoft Azure Expert MSP partner, but in other areas, data and AI, digital app innovation, you see we are solutions partner. We are a Microsoft AI Inner Circle member, which is a pinnacle of accreditation and recognition. So all of this really should give you the confidence that we are the right partner to work with you and with your clients to deliver those solutions. So to give you an idea of the things that we do, so the software is natively AI enabled, and there's lots of capabilities already mentioned. So in the Microsoft ERP area, so we have things like image analyzer, marketing text. We have created our own product called Ask Nora, an AI chatbot. I've got a slide in a moment that I want to show you. But also in the Power Platform, so natural language deployment, Power BI, machine learning based predictions, segment creation in Dynamics 365, and here, of course, in the Microsoft space, Teams meeting recap, that's now available, Excel formula generation, Word document creation. All of these things, that's probably new to most of your clients. So not only can we consult and implement the technology, but we can also educate the users to deliver training, and we can drive adoption and change management. So really get end users excited and find the use cases within the organization to then leverage all these capabilities. So in all of those three areas, we can really help add value and then drive value. So here's an example of what we as the Node4 group internally use, but there's no reason why we couldn't deliver the same capability to one of your clients. So when we as Node4 have a contract with a supplier or with a customer, we take the contract and there's an automation process. So first of all, contracts are being summarized to. Not everybody wants to read a 100-page contract, so they can be very complex and you might miss things. So we use AI to summarize the document, to provide a very short summary so that key people, especially imagine there's an escalation, somebody needs to very quickly get to grips with what's the scope of the contract. So we use that. From the analysis, we understand the contract. There might be nuances to say, okay, are there contradictions in the contract? So really delivering more improved ways of how the contract is written, identifying key info, so clauses, terms and conditions, important metrics, relevant if you deliver, obviously, SLAs and so on. What are key dates? When do key milestones need to be delivered? Or are there renewal dates and things like that? And with that information, we can then drive automation for tasks. So when does a legal review need to happen? When do we need to reach out for contract renewal negotiations and so on? So all of these activities. So we do this already today internally. And again, there's no reason why we couldn't sell that to our other clients and to your clients as well. Here's another example where Copilot can be used to generate text and do an image analysis. So here's a video. I won't play this just because we are running a little bit short on time, but basically In Dynamics 365, in the Business Central aspect, you can upload a picture. It understands, oh, it is a green chair, and then it creates the description for you with all the key information then extracted and so on. So it can do all these kind of things. Power BI, we already talked about predictive analytics. When we talk about analytics, typically organizations start with descriptive analytics. That's you have actual data and looking back in time to say, okay, what happened the last month, the last quarter in my finance data, for example. The more advanced and complex activity that you can do is you can use diagnostic analytics. So why did something happen? Still looking back at data, but understanding the impact, why something happened. So building correlations from existing data. The next step then is more advanced, more complex predictive analytics. So yes, I have historic data, and then I can predict what will happen next month based on the historic trends and trend information that you have seen. And then prescriptive analytics. So you can really then take this to the next level, not just predicting something, but really describing. And I've got an example here for the prescriptive analytics that I want to show you next. So here we have in Power BI, we presented this at a TMP user day, which will also go on a roadshow. So if this is something you really want to understand more. Here you see a query in Power Query using data about online visitors, and then we say, okay, we want to predict more. And in Power BI, you have now quite impressive prediction capabilities. So you pick here the data source and the outcome. So you want to predict what purchases are made next. You choose the target outcome, how you want to label and match the information. So it creates then the machine learning model for you. Currently, it's a prediction model. And then here you see the prediction for, if you are very familiar with how prediction works, you get actual information and actual false information, so true and false, and the prediction true and false. So and then you can change how much you want to narrow this down to get just true predictions, so the driving the accuracy or other areas. So with that, you do a cost benefit analysis, and that produces the model here, and here you see the model performance there. So all of this you can now do within Power BI, and then here you get examples and how the model is working out the information, and obviously the higher the percentages, the more likelihood we have here. So really great examples what you can do, and then you can use this to, for example, do a purchase intent prediction for that information. You get that information produced in the background. You can take that example further. Here's then the purchase intent prediction now in the data model behind the scenes that you can see there, and all of that, of course, can be then reported on. The other example that I wanted to give, and I appreciate we're running very short on time now, but want to give chance for Q and answer afterwards, Q&A. We have created a Nora chatbot that can be used in Microsoft Teams, for example. And yes, everybody can build a Nora chatbot, but the Nora chatbot can actually hook into data in your content database. That could be Dynamics, it could be a SQL database, wherever. And so the chatbot can interact with your source data. And here you see you get an example. So tell me about a purchase order, and it can give information from a purchase ordering system. So yeah, I skipped through that information. In terms of consultancy, I already talked about our capabilities, so I just want to reiterate those few areas. We can, of course, provide consultancy on the governance. So how do you best structure this in terms of data security, ethical use, usage policies, and so on. user education, we can do the technical aspects, so anything from prompt engineering, the development, the architecture, all of those capabilities we have. But also we can work with you and the senior leadership team in the client organizations to drive strategy, ideation workshops, hackathons. We're representing on AI boards in the councils or whatever that might be. So yeah, really a lot of capabilities that we have there. And again, areas of focus, it's endless. We've got 3 customer examples here. So for Marlink, that's a media communications organization, we are implementing the interpretation of documents. The example I showed you a moment ago, we're also doing predictive maintenance on the alignment of satellites through AI. Here's another client more in the education sector where we help with creating a machine learning model on automated grading and feedback, and how therefore lessons should be prepped and what other skill sections should be more reinforced based on the grading and predicting student performance. And a customer from the technology sector, again, they are looking for ChatGPT for their regulatory requirements and context assessment there. So again, we could go on for ages, but I want to stop here. I stop presenting to really open up the floor. There must be a myriad of questions and comments. So first of all, thanks for listening, and yeah, very keen to open questions.
Stunned silence, Bjoern.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Any questions from anybody? Did anything resonate well? Can you already imagine certain clients where you would want to work with us on certain aspects, or is there anything that wasn't quite clear where I can help answer questions?
And I put a question out to the audience, and is anybody having these kind of conversations with their clients right now? Is it something that you want to engage your clients with? Okay. Well,
if there are no questions right now, of course, you've got our contact information. Please reach out if you rather discuss something in a one-to-one scenario. Of course, Stuart and myself and the wider team, we're always happy to work with you, engage with your clients. So yeah.
Yeah, and we are obviously looking to help and engage here as well. So if it is a benefit and you would like one-to-one with Bjoern on how we could potentially help you implement this within your organizations, or an hour, and just in front of a client to discuss strategies. So again, no charge here. It's more very much help you identify that opportunity within your client. Look, there's always an opportunity there, right? Put someone like Bjoern in front of a client, and opportunities will appear. So if we can enable you and help you in these conversations, then feel free to reach out, and that resource is available. So if there's no questions or anything else, we'll sign off there. Thank you very much for everyone that joined, and yeah, look forward to speaking to you all soon. And thank you, Bjoern.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Right, thanks everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.